Hello, fellow movie and TV lovers, and welcome to the inaugural episode of ClapperCorns. My name is Nick Dorian, and on today's episode, we are going to be talking about a film that will be releasing in Malaysia this coming Thursday, which is none other than Elvis. Now, I am a huge Elvis fan. I was introduced to the king of rock and roll at a very young age by my father, and ever since then, he has been a very important part of my life, constantly filling my car, my room with his music and sound. So, of course, when I found out that Baz Luhrmann was about to do a biopic about the man himself, I was a bit hesitant at first. But after having seen the film, I realized I had absolutely nothing to worry about. Baz Luhrmann has done something that I don't think has been done for any Elvis sort of biopic before. He has managed to encapsulate the man himself, the glitz, the glamour, the heart, the soul of Elvis Presley into one 2.5 hour movie. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Now, for those who don't know what the film is about, Elvis, of course, tells the story about the king of rock and roll from his young days of a young boy all the way up to his Vegas years. But what makes this film interesting is that it's not told through Elvis's eyes, but instead it's told through his manager's eyes, Colonel Tom Parker, who, if you're not really sure, was the man who worked Elvis to the bone, essentially almost killing him, but at the same time bringing him to heights that Elvis would have never reached on his own. Now, what makes this movie great, almost perfect, is the fact that Baz Luhrmann has managed to, like I said, translate the embodiment of Elvis into film form. It's flashy, it's loud, it's heartfelt, it's heartbreaking at times, which is everything that the man is. This man was an icon, a cultural icon, and a man larger than life. And Baz Luhrmann has managed to translate that into a movie that also is larger than life. But despite what Baz Luhrmann has done, it can't be done without a good actor in the role of Elvis Presley. And Baz Luhrmann and his casting team have done a fantastic job finding the man that is Austin Butler. Give this man every single award. Give him an Oscar, give him a Tony, give him a Grammy, give him a SAG Award, give him a BAFTA, give him all the awards, because Austin Butler disappears on screen. You no longer see Butler, you see Elvis on screen. You lose yourself so much, you forget what the actual king sounded like, because not only did Austin act in this, he also sang. He sang, and he sang as Elvis. Before I went for the screening, I took a listen to Trouble that they released. Trouble is one of Elvis's more famous songs, and they did it for the film. And when I listened to it, I could not believe what I was hearing. This was not Austin Butler. This was not a man pretending to be Elvis or acting as Elvis. This was Elvis. He sounds like him. He moves like him. He looks like him at some points, and everything just worked. Austin Butler is Elvis, and the king lives. Now, moving on to Tom Hanks, who played Colonel Tom Parker. Now, we haven't seen Tom Hanks play sort of a villainous role, and I think he relished the moment in this film because he is also amazing as Colonel Tom Parker. He brings out the sort of villainous, conniving, snidey sort of personality that Tom Parker was, but at the same time, you kind of feel sorry for him and you kind of have a heart for him because he was a gambling addict. He gambled everything away. And at the same time, he was just hunting down the dream, hunting down that one little thing that he needed in his life. And that was Elvis. And the music. Okay, here's the thing. They released the soundtrack listing before the film came out. And frankly, I got a bit worried because it was the typical Baz Luhrmann style of, hey, let's get modern music and translate it into a musical. So say if you watched Moulin Rouge, you of course had Backstreet Boys, you had Elton John, and that's how they were progressing the story. So of course I was a bit worried going, okay, is that what we're going to do with Elvis's story as well? Because that's not what we need. And thankfully they didn't. They did it in a way that was almost classy. Like, it was subtle, but it wasn't massively there. What was at the forefront, of course, was Elvis's music and songs, which is what we were there for. So thankfully, Baz, you did a fantastic job, and the music flowed really well and hopefully introduces a new generation to the king of rock and roll. Now, I could wax lyrical about this film for weeks, and I possibly will if you know me, but I don't want to talk too long about it. I want you guys to go and see it for yourself when it comes out this coming Thursday at all cinemas across Malaysia. It's also coming out in IMAX. Go and watch this film because I think, and these are big words, and I'm a huge Elvis fan, so I have liberty to say this. I think it would make any Elvis fan proud. They did the man justice. It's everything you would want in an Elvis film. As much as I love the Jonathan Rhys-Meyers film, which, if you haven't seen the Jonathan Rhys-Meyers TV film, I highly recommend it. It's also near perfect, and if you want the real nitty-gritty of Elvis's life, that's the movie for you. Go watch that as well if you can find it. But I would highly recommend, of course, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Did it go into the major points of his life at every moment of his life? Of course not. We don't have time for that. But he picked out the highlights of Elvis's life, both the successes and the downfalls, to bring a concise movie together that flows so well. There's not a dull moment in between, and it just keeps your foot tapping, your eyes watering, and your hearts full. So yes, do yourself a favor, go buy tickets for Elvis. Again, like I said, it comes out on the 23rd of June, this coming Thursday. And if you'd like to hear more about my thoughts, you can always find me at Geeks in Malaysia, or we did a podcast at Goggler Mai. We did a podcast there about Elvis recently, so you can listen to more of my Elvis thoughts over there. All the socials for ClapperCorns is on your screen at the moment. Go find us. At the moment, we are only on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, but hopefully more things will come. So yes, thank you so much for watching this inaugural episode of ClapperCorns. It may be a bit rough at the moment, but in time, it'll get better, I'm sure. My name is Nick Dorian. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next time.